Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a high growth stock that ARK started investing in October at a very cheap prices, but they continue adding to their position even more this week, even with a huge uptrend. This stock is Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR. I'm going to first do a small overview on what the company is, what they do, then I'll analyze their earnings and lockup period. We'll also talk about the deals that they have with the government and other huge companies, and lastly we'll give you guys my thoughts and opinions on this stock and its current stock price. Please smash that like button and subscribe since it really helps my channel out. Also, do not forget about the limited time offer Webull is offering, which is expiring by the end of this month. You are able to get 4 free stocks just by opening an account with them and depositing $100. Again, it will expire on November 30th, and it is an excellent opportunity to have basically free money. The link for that is down in the description below. Palantir is a technology data company. At Palantir, we build software that lets organizations integrate their data, their decisions, and their operations into one platform. Our software empowers entire organizations to answer complex questions quickly by bringing the right data up to the people who need it. In other words, they help companies that have a ton of data, and Palantir organize that data collection and give the company very useful and super simple information that will help the business with decision making. Palantir closed yesterday at a price of $29.05 per share, since it went up over 21% in a single day, and today the market is closed, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see its performance. They reported earnings about a week or two ago. To start, they reported a revenue of $290.3 million in revenue for the third quarter, which is an increase of almost 52% in comparison to the same period last year. Their cost of revenue increased since in 2019 it represented around 30% of the revenue, and this last quarter it is over 50% of the revenue. But they reported a net loss of $853 million, which is a massive increase since last year, since they spent way more money in sales and marketing, research and development, and general administrative. We will have to see if they improve that, since maybe last quarter they were going public and they invested way more money in marketing. Their existing contract revenue has grown a lot as their customers derive more value from their software subscriptions. The average revenue per customer grew 38%, which means customers are liking the Palantir software and are willing to pay more money for it, and the average revenue of their top 20 customers grew 36% as well. Also, their adjusted operating income was $73 million from negative $92 million last year, which is a huge growth since last year, and their adjusted operating margin was 25%, which is excellent. In 2020, their government business grew 68% year over year, which I'm going to talk about those deals later in the video. But their balance sheet is actually pretty healthy. They have total cash and cash equivalents of $1.8 billion, with total current assets of $2.39 billion, and total current liabilities of just $942 million, which means that they have a total current ratio of 2.54, which obviously it is excellent for such a growth company. Then they have total asset of $2.6 billion and total liabilities of $1.36 billion, meaning that they only have 51 of their assets in liability. Palantir raised its full year revenue guidance to between $1.07 to $1.072 billion, which represents 44% growth from a year earlier. Then the adjusted operating income in 2020 is expected to be between $130 million and $136 million, and are expecting a revenue growth of 31% for the fourth quarter and greater than 30% throughout 2021, which would be an excellent growth year over year. Palantir is a very popular stock that has performed very well since they went public. They went public with a stock price of $10 per share, and it traded between $9 to $10 since their IPO date on September 30th until November 4th. And since then, everything has been history. This stock is up 196.30% in the last month, but 188% since they went public. Just yesterday, it went up over 21% for the day, and that is insane. Now, the lockup period. Companies can go public in several ways: by filing for an IPO, by a direct listing, or merging with a SPAC company. Normally, companies that file for an IPO are the ones that tend to have a lockup period, which tends to expire 180 days after going public. After the lockup period expires, employees and executives are able to sell their shares if needed. That is why sometimes stocks drop during the expiration day, because employees sell their shares, plus also some retail investors like to sell before expiration day because of the uncertainty of what is going to happen that day, and a lot of investors do not like the uncertainty. Even though Palantir went public as a direct listing, they decided to use a lockup period as well. Also, the price of the stock tends to die off on expiration day because typically when a company goes public, there is only about 10% of the entire shares float available, creating a type of scarcity in the market and driving the price up. But when the rest of the float is released, the shares flood the market and the stock price die off. This is why it is very important to take into consideration the lockup period, as I said with Lemonade stock as well. Well, as of November 22nd, there were about 497 million outstanding shares, which is about 23% of the total float, meaning that potentially 1.7 billion shares could hit the market after lockup period. Some stocks do drop a lot while others stay like nothing happened. The lockup period for Palantir should expire on December 31st, so I do expect some volatility on the stock from now until then. If you are a long-term investor, these might create an opportunity to buy more since short-term movements shouldn't actually matter. Now, let's talk about the latest deals Palantir have had. At the beginning of the year in March, they were awarded a contract to support U.S. Navy Naval, or the Naval Operational Business Logistic Enterprises. They would provide their software to provide an open architecture for data ingest, integration, management, and analytics. Then in October, U.S. Army Research Lab selects Palantir Technologies for $91 million artificial intelligence and machine learning development. Basically, they would help the Army Research Lab to accelerate its mission by building out its capability in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Again, in October, NCAS awards Palantir Technologies $36 million contract to support its secure scientific platform environment. Lastly, a few days ago, Palantir enters Mission Command Space with the U.S. Army Futures Command prototype. Also, Palantir was selected to be one of the companies that will control the logistics and supply of the COVID vaccine when it is available. It is really impressive to see what this company is able to do with their technology and data integration to help companies improve their businesses. For example, within 2 weeks, the energy supermajor generated $57 million of cash savings because of the software provided by Palantir that was able to organize their data and provide better solutions. Lastly, an aerospace customer signed the largest commercial deal they have done during the pandemic. As you can see, they are getting a lot of deals from the government and also private companies like Airbus. I do have to accept that I love Palantir is working with the government and especially with the Army, since we all know that U.S. military likes to spend a lot of money every single year to improve their tactics, counter terrorism, and also build out capabilities with artificial intelligence. And this has made Palantir be confident with their growth in the coming years. Now, on their earnings call, Palantir said, and I quote, "Our customer concentration is decreasing. 61% of its revenue for the first time in 9 months of the year came from its top 20 customers, down from 68% over the same stretch in 2019. And in my opinion, this is an important factor we do have to take into consideration for the coming years." Now, ARK started investing in this stock back when it was at $9 or almost $10 per share and have been adding small positions since then. They invested over $16 million in the past 2 weeks. When I posted a Sunday's video, they had about 1.06 million shares, and as of yesterday, they have over 1.1 million shares, meaning that even with this huge uptrend, they continued buying this stock. And that is why I decided to make this video. Palantir is a growth, innovative, and idealistic company that has excellent software margins, and according to all their deals, their software solutions will be dominant in the government and some private industries, which is incredible for the company since the market potential is huge. Obviously, right now it is not as dirty cheap as it was when they went public on September, but I do think it still has room to continue growing. If they continue having such an excellent revenue growth year over year, then this is going to be an excellent investment in the long term. Obviously, I do think it has a rich valuation right now, but as a long-term investor, I'm waiting for a dip to happen to be able to start a small position position and monitor the stock and then cost average if something happens during the lockup period. I mean, if Kathy Wood or ARK Invest has been buying at current prices, they must have seen something that I haven't, and for sure they know way more than me. Maybe ARK Invest saw a huge potential when Palantir announced a 52% growth in revenue year over year and everything changed. I do expect Palantir to continue providing excellent return in the long term, but I do expect volatility in the short term since it is a brand new stock. I do want to know what you guys think about Palantir. Have you invested in it, or are you planning to invest in this stock? Thank you everyone for watching. Remember, I have a completely free Discord group chat. The link for that is down in the description below. Please smash that like button and subscribe since it really helps my channel out. Thank you and see you next time.